Hi, everybody. I'm Ross the Boss. I'm here with my co host, Dr. Dan Ratner. Our guest today is Super Bowl champion, two-time Pro Bowler, and he's also an actor now. It's unbelievable. Vernon Davis, welcome to the show.
Oh, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
First of all, you look great. I feel you can still play.
But when you retired last year, you did it kind of unconventional. I never seen somebody announce their retirement like you did. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it was a bit unexpected. I was in South Florida. Gronkowski had a skit that he was doing. He wanted me to be a part of it. And I had a chat with Fox. And so I went over and we did a Golden Girl skit. And after that, I was all over the place. They were like, Vernon Davis is retired, blah, blah, blah. And I was caught off guard because I didn't plan to retire that way. But hey, it all worked out. It was fun. It was very entertaining and I enjoyed it.
Was the concussion you had that year part of it? Was that a big determination why you retired?
Yes, I think that was a huge factor in me hanging that up. It was just one of those things where, you have multiple concussions throughout your career. And then all of a sudden, you start to come to the realization that, hey, this is something that, I'll have to deal with for the rest of my life. So I might as well walk away while I can. And that was the determining factor for me being able to hang it up.
And so now you're getting into acting. Can you talk about, did you know you were going to go in that direction? Or was this more like, as you started to think about, well, what am I going to do? That's what occurred to you.
No, I didn't. Throughout the years, I had been taking acting classes. I started working with friends of mine on the craft and the techniques that I needed to have when being in front of the camera. And within before 2 years of retiring, I knew that it was something that I really wanted to do. So when I walked away, I just walked right into it, and I didn't look back. I was like, hey, I feel comfortable. I'm ready to explore and take on a new challenge, and this is something I can see myself doing for the next 15, 20, 30 years.
Which one is harder, acting or playing football?
I think they're equally tough. And, just like anything else, you have to put the work in, you have to dedicate yourself, have the motivation, and aspire to be great at everything that you put your foot into. So, I'm going to have to say they're both challenging in so many ways, but over time, if you're putting the work in, it'll show.
So
sure.
Vernon, I'm a therapist. You wouldn't know that about me, but I'm actually a psychologist that now has pivoted some. I mean, I still do my psychology stuff quite a bit, but I'm also in sports, obviously. And I'm wondering about the psychology of retirement. And I know that you got to play with Alex Smith in Washington. And I wondered if you could talk about, are you shocked that he came back from that catastrophic injury?
Yeah, I was surprised that he came back. And, after going through that year and the things, the challenges and the struggles that he had to fight through, I mean, it's just something that I couldn't see myself doing. So when I look at this man, I say, wow, this is the most resilient man that I've ever met. But knowing Alex, being with him since 2006, I knew that he would take on anything. I knew that he had it in him. And it's not many guys that can say that can go through the things that he went through and then be able to come back like that and be a champion. The way he went out there, I mean, you can call him a champion because of how he walked out on the field and what he showed. I mean, he's a man of many things, and resilient is absolutely one of them.
I mean, how was it playing in your hometown for like 3 years? You grew up in the DC area. You went to Dunbar High School, which is known for basketball, not really football. I'm right. And I'm kidding. But on all seriousness, how was it to play like in front of your family and friends for like 3 years? How was that?
It was awesome. It was fantastic. I mean, that's just like that's one of those things that you always want to do. Wherever you grow up, you want to play in that city. And when I remember when I was drafted, I wanted to play for the Washington football team. It was my goal. It was a lifelong dream of mine, but they didn't choose me. So I said, I'm just going to go on and hopefully one day they'll pick me up. Maybe I'll get traded or, just anything could happen. And I had faith in that. And so all of a sudden when I left Denver, I got a call from general manager of mine who brought me into the San Francisco 49ers, Scott McCloughan. And I took a visit, fell in love.
And how many tickets did you have to get for friends and family for each game?
I had to get, I'd say, maybe 10 to 15 tickets again.
It's more work than during the playbook. You have to get all those tickets.
10 to 15 tickets a game. Woo.
So it's a lot of work, man. So you actually won the Super Bowl in Denver with Hall of Fame quarterback Peyton Manning. How was he to play with? And I know you do an impression of him. I want to hear the impression. But how was he to work with? How was his work ethic? I know he was in the trainer's room every day. I know that. But tell us a little about it.
Peyton was he was one of those guys that when you meet him, you'll say, wow, this is a high character guy. His integrity, everything that he stands for. He's just a phenomenal dude. So when I walked in, I had never met. Well, I met Peyton in passing, but when you actually play with someone, it's a different story there. But he was very. He was all about the team. He would minimize himself in the locker room, but when he stepped into the meeting room or outside for practice, he stood out like a sore thumb. I mean, he was like a general. He took over. I mean, you would have probably thought he was the offensive coordinator in the meeting rooms, and they gave him that flexibility and the liberty to be able to do that. So you couldn't help but to love the man. I mean, he was just so down to earth. He was all about his teammates. He cared so much about the locker room. He cared about winning. He was everything that you could imagine in a leader, everything that you could possibly want in a quarterback. I mean, he was all of that. I mean, he was just a solid all-around dude.
It's amazing that the things he brings to the table, not just the physical gifts, but what you're talking about is his leadership skills. So I want to talk about a totally different experience about the Lombardi Trophy. I heard a story. I don't even know if I have this right, so you got to tell me. But I heard a story that in 2013 you almost broke the Lombardi Trophy. That's what I was told. I have no idea if that's even true.
In 2013, I can't even remember that. Did it fall? Maybe I dropped. Did I almost drop?
Yeah, what happened was you were doing a commercial, I think, for CBS or one of those things. The Lombardi Trophy was next to you, and you accidentally tipped it. And with the great hands you have and the reflex you have as a tight end, you actually saved the day.
Yeah, it was like one of those tipped passes where you dive in the end zone, but you caught the Lombardi Trophy.
How scared were you? Were you nervous? I mean, you must have been shaking after that. I mean, seriously, you got a trophy. Who knows that, who knows if it would have broke, but can you imagine if you broke it?
No, that Lombardi's like a newborn baby, man. Imagine if you had a newborn baby in your hand. You're almost about to tip the baby over. You're going to do everything you can in your power to make sure you stop that baby from hitting the ground. That's how I felt about that Lombardi Trophy. When I saw it tipping, I was like, oh, the reflexes kicked in, man. It was like do or die right there, man. You gotta take care of that thing. You gotta take care of that Lombardi Trophy. So that's how I felt. That's what was going through my mind at the moment.
So these Super Bowl rings are it's like wearing like a piece of hardware now. How often do you wear your Super Bowl ring? Do you ever take it out of the safe? I mean, how often do you put it on?
Actually, I don't wear it. It gets a lot of attention. I'm one of those kind of guys that I don't like the attention to fall on me. I just like to kind of just stay behind the scenes a little bit. But it is a really nice ring. I only take it when I'm talking, when I'm having meetings or if I have to talk to a group of kids, because they love seeing that Super Bowl ring. And it gives them inspiration too to keep pressing forward. So that's the only time I consider taking it out in the public.
Can I give you a little hint? If you walk into an audition for a movie with that ring on, you'll get the part.
I never thought about that. Maybe I should try that.
little free advice from Ross the Boss. I'd like to give advice to people and help their career. That's what I do.
But you know what, Ross? I can tell Vernon's not going to need your help that much because this is an observation from a psychologist. What do I know? But I'm saying you're a guy who clearly can stay in the moment. And I know that's very important for an athlete and also an actor. Would you say that's true about you? It certainly seems to be the case.
Yeah, I think staying in the moment is pivotal when you're doing something like, whether it's when you're performing, right? Whenever you're performing, you always want to be in the moment. You want to make sure that you're really focused. You have to have a focus unknown to mankind. And one guy who used to tell me that all the time was Jim Harbaugh. He said, whenever we walk in this room, man, we have to have the enthusiasm unknown to mankind, right? And that speaks volume because he's right. I mean, this is this is your life. Whatever it is that you're doing, this is your life. This is something you've always wanted to do. It's something that you have to take pride in. It's something that you have to deliver on because there's a lot of people counting on you to come through. So you always have to keep your focus and your enthusiasm. So that's why it's very important to stay in the moment.
I wondered, so Chadwick Boseman apparently went to college in your hometown. Did you ever get to meet him? Did any cross paths with him? Because as an actor and him being in your hometown for a while, I wondered.
No, he's a little older than I am. So I never really crossed paths with him. I wish I had the opportunity, but it never came to fruition.
Do you have certain acting heroes? I don't know if he would be one, but now you're becoming an actor. So who are your acting heroes?
I have to go back in time. Sidney Poitier, I love him. I love Will Smith, Denzel Washington, Liam Neeson. I can continue to keep going, but those are my top guys that I really admire. I watched a lot of films and studied them quite a bit, but those guys are extraordinary.
I love to hear you say Sidney Poitier because a lot of people forget the older guys, but like In the Heat of the Night,
And I love how you say it, Vernon. You say Sidney Poitier's name in perfect English. I love that.
Poitier.
Oh, I love it.
Poitier.
Say it again. So you were never known to be a big dancer on the field. You never had a big celebration. You were very, very calm, but you caught touchdowns. And all of a sudden, I see you on Dancing with the Stars. You're on Dancing with the Stars, dancing away, doing great. And what motivated you to go on that show?
I was up for. I just wanted to explore and take a challenge. As I try not to back down from something that I've never done before. And you don't know unless you try it. I'm one of those guys that has always believed in that. Do it, and if it doesn't work, then you keep moving forward and you try something else. So, and I've always wanted to learn how to dance. So that was my opportunity to come in to that lane and be able to perfect the craft and do it make it a lifelong journey for me, because once you learn how to do it, you can continue to do it for the rest of your life. And that's what I wanted to do.
I love when people challenge themselves, and to hear from you is really inspiring, actually. There's another subject. There's another thing I want to talk to you about, how Mike Singletary kind of changed your life a little bit and put you in a journey that really helped you a lot. I want you to tell the audience about that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I knew that question was coming. It's going to follow me for the rest of my life, and I know it.
It's very inspiring, Vernon. When I read about it, I was very inspired by it. I want you to tell our audience. It's great.
Gosh, if I had a dollar for every time I had to talk about that, then I'd be rich right now.
Dr. Dan Ratner, mail him a check.
All right, you'll get a check for $1 for me because this is just one time.
Yeah, I'm counting on that dollar, guys. I'm gonna need that dollar. All right.
All right. I'll get your Venmo after this.
No, yeah, he was. Mike Singletary was there at the right time. There's always, like we said, just being in the moment, and there's always moments where you need that specific person. He was that specific person I needed at the time, because coming into the NFL, you're a young man, so there's a lot you need to learn, especially learning how to become a leader, and that's something I needed to take on. That was a responsibility that I needed to adopt. And because I had Mike Singletary, he was there to show me the way and show me that lane, right? And a lot of people might look at the rant that was on national television where he said, I'd rather play with 10 guys than to play with someone that's all about themselves. I want winners. I told Vernon. That's
a good impression. I like that.
We can look back and laugh at that. I know I can, because I appreciate it. I'm very appreciative of it. And the most humble way, because it helped catapult me to where I am today. The success that I've had, I have to credit Mike Singletary for that, because he helped me channel my emotions and become a leader for that team.
So, Vernon, let's talk a little bit about the NFL and some of the happenings in the NFL. One of the things that is happening is they are planning to add an extra game to the regular season. Mm-hmm. I wondered, as a former player, what do you think about this?
As a former player, I don't think they should add another game to the season, because it's enough games as is. I mean, we have preseason, right? And then there's then you're adding the 17 games. I feel like that's 16 games is more than enough. It's just, football takes a toll on players.
Right.
It's a very brutal sport, and I think we have to take that into consideration. I mean, there's helmet to helmet collisions, and no matter how much they become a stickler on not having helmet to helmet collisions, it's still going to happen because guys are, like you said, in the moment and they're not really thinking. Subconsciously it's there, but when you're in that moment, you're feeling good and you're about to make that big hit or that big tackle. Sometimes you can't help it to go helmet to helmet. So there's always going to be that collision there unless they decide to make it flag football. But I don't think that's going to happen because then that's going to take away from the excitement of the game. But, there just has to be some leeway. I mean, if you're going to go 16, 17 games, then maybe we have 2 preseason games. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Make
Minimize
it 2 preseason games than regular season games because it's just a lot. But then again, some people may differ. Who am I? That's just my opinion. Some people might say, hey, these 4 preseason games, maybe we use it for the rookies or the new guys coming in. The veterans don't have to play. All they have to do is play 2 games or 1 game. You know what I mean? Maybe we can kind of, there's some give and take there. So I think we should really take that into consideration and understand that, hey, there's guys who've been playing a long time, especially these veterans, 10, 12, 13 years. Let's make sure we take care of those guys and not have to really put them out there to play 4 preseason games as well as 17 games.
And, this NFL draft that just happened, there were a lot of quarterbacks drafted. Which one do you think will have the best NFL career?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question because nowadays you get these guys that come in and they can be 2nd round, 3rd round picks. Yeah. And then you get the guys who come in. I mean, we can go back in history and pick those guys who are candidates for this topic, right? So it's hard to really say. Yeah, there's some good talent out there, but I can't really say who's going to be what at the moment. I have to really go back. I haven't really went in and really observed these quarterbacks to the point where I can say that, oh, he's going to have a successful career. Because, yeah, he might have a successful career in college, but then what about when he gets to the pros? We've seen that over and over and over.
Yeah, and a lot of it is about the team context that they come into. Which team do they end up on and that sort of thing. So we'll have to see. Yeah. We're going to wrap things up here, but I want to just get your pick for which team you think will win the Super Bowl.
If it's my pick, I'm going to have to go because they kept a lot of the guys from last year. I'm going to have to say Tampa Bay. And I say Tampa Bay because a lot of times when you look back, these teams who win the Super Bowl, all of a sudden the very next year, they let it go all of the guys that they had. One's because there's some guys who want more money. There's guys who are getting these big requests. There's guys who are getting these big offers. So we have to take all that into consideration. But you look at a team like Tampa who hasn't had too much turnover. So I'm gonna have to say Tampa for sure.
Vernon, if Tom Brady calls you right now and says, Vernon, I want you to be part of the team. I need another great tight end on the other side of me. Would you consider coming back?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
It's good to hear that.
What? Yeah, if Tom calls me, then I might have to consider it. I'm like, oh yeah, let me look at it. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I should come in.
I like to hear that's good.
All right, Vernon. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. You got a fantastic NFL career in the rearview mirror. You've got this great acting career budding on the horizon, and we look forward to seeing what happens next for you.
Oh, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for having
me. Remember, wear that ring at the audition. Wear the ring.
And then tell us if that worked.
Thanks, Vernon.
All right. Thanks, guys.